The new year gave us little to cheer about as the Reds notched up their first ever 0-0 under Arne Slot's. The positive was it keeps this unbeaten run going, but still that opportunity to solidify fourth spot was not taken. It is unlikely, dare I say it, we will see the same again today, though not since April 1963 has there been a goalless draw between these two down at Craven Cottage. Yes, Liverpool down in the capital once again this afternoon, taking on Fulham today. It is a 3 o'clock kickoff this Sunday. We are live with our build-up until then, at which point we will bring you full and uninterrupted audio commentary on LFC TV and all red video as well. Gary Gillespie and Jason McIntyre here with me in the studio. We will hear from them in just a moment. We've also got Ray Houghton and Matt Smith braving the cold down at Craven Cottage for us in West London this afternoon. Good afternoon to you too, Matt.
Good afternoon, Becky. Happy New Year to all three of you and everybody watching. Obviously, as you've mentioned, the young man alongside me. How cold is it, Mr. Houghton?
I don't think it's as bad as I thought it was going to be. When I woke up this morning, it was really, really cold. So I was fearing the worst, but it's much better now. The pitch is in good condition, so I'm really looking forward to the game. Two of my old clubs.
Yes.
It's been a long time since I've been back here as a player, 1982 when I started here, but absolutely brilliant to see the club move on the direction it has. But we have a really tough game for Liverpool, I think, today. Just the form that Fulham are in.
Yeah, Fulham obviously held on New Year's Day, but we're in pretty good form in terms of wins before that. Liverpool also unbeaten for a while now, albeit New Year's Day wasn't everything that the fans were hoping for, I think it's fair to say. And actually the last 4 meetings in the Premier League between these two teams, 20 goals. 20.
Plenty.
Exactly. 20's plenty, Becky.
Like good omens to me. Welcome to you two.
Again?
I was just going to say, speaking of the cold, you and I have just thawed out after Leeds. It was Baltic
Well, I
at
see you
Anfield.
more than my wife at the minute.
Well, if there's any consolation, I was away in Portugal and it was very...
Sunning yourself. You've got a nice tan as well.
Oh, was it?
It was
Lovely
cold
colour.
in Portugal, yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
But sunny, because you got a little bit of a bronzy.
I was going to say he's got a little bit of a tan going on.
Yes.
Blood pressure.
Oh,
When you get to my age.
Listen, what we saw against Leeds, not the most inspiring start to 2026, was it? So we want them to kick on a little bit today against Fulham, Jace.
Yeah, I spoke to, funny enough, Don Hutchinson, who was on commentary for the game for somebody, and we were talking after the game on the drive home, and you know, his way of putting the game was, when I think about it, there may have been something. Listen, it was freezing. The wind was howling. The rain was coming in sideways. It was New Year's Day. The fans were looking to be inspired. And unfortunately, you know, the performance certainly didn't do anything for the fans, but it didn't do anything for us as pundits either. It was, other than maybe give out a bit of criticism, it looked like a performance that was slow and laboured, devoid of any ideas. You know, there was little incident in the game apart from possibly the penalty decision and maybe Ekatike's header, which he kind of fluffed his lines. But apart from that, there wasn't a great deal to talk about, which from a Liverpool perspective, being at home in a position that they've been given because of the points being dropped by everybody else and the opportunity was still there. When you think of dropping points to Sunderland, dropping points to Leeds, two promoted teams, could have been a much healthier position in the league. It was all a bit like, I need more. Yeah. I just need more.
Don't you really think that probably typifies the way the season's actually gone at this moment in time?
Maybe.
I think, I mean, if you're a manager or like a coach or a player, I think what you have to do is you've got to take the positives out of it, and the fact that it does extend our unbeaten run. But there's no getting away from the disappointment, like as Jason rightly says, not winning against Sunderland, not winning against Leeds, especially at Anfield, will probably come back and haunt us a little bit towards the end of the season. But in saying that, today's another chance, another opportunity to make amends, and with a big game against Arsenal coming up as well, who knows where we can be after these two games.
OK, we are going to head back to Craven Cottage now and get news of the Liverpool lineup. We'll hear from Ray in just a second. First, though, Matt has the details of the starting 11, and there's some big news, Matt.
There is, Becky. Yes, it's some frustration, I'm sure, disappointment from a Liverpool point of view, because there is no Ugo Ekatike. He has been left out of the Matchday squad today with what we're told is a minor fitness issue. As Gary just mentioned, Arsenal maybe on the horizon, perhaps comes into the thinking. Nonetheless, with Liverpool's only fit number 9, you would argue at the moment, they would have loved, I'm sure, on a slot and his coaching staff to have him available. He is not available for the game here. So Liverpool will start with Alisson in goal, a back 4 today of Conor Bradley at right back, Milos Kerkez on the other side of the pitch at left back, Konate and Van Dijk at centre half. Joe Gomez, by the way, is among the substitutes today. The sitting midfielders, if you will, are Curtis Jones and Ryan Gravenberch. Alexis McAllister in front of them, in between Florian Wirtz, who is fit enough to start here, and Dominic Szoboszlai. And Cody Gakpo, fit again, starts today, and starts in effect, Ray, at centre forward. So that's the frustration and disappointment, I suppose, out of the way. How do Liverpool cope without Ekitike?
Well, we think Cody plays it.
Yeah, we're guessing.
We don't know until the game starts, but there's no doubt that the club's been decimated by injuries at the moment. Hopefully Hugo will be back, very soon, because he's been such an influential player in the last few matches that Liverpool have played. And obviously, Alex been out for as long as he is. You need that number 9. But the players know they have to go out and perform. These are the challenges that you have to come up against in football, and you have to be ready for it. I'm sure the players will be. You can't feel sorry for yourself.
No.
You mentioned earlier, Matt, they're in a good run of form at the moment. Yeah, they're not playing as well as they can. They're not scoring the goals they would like to. Still creating 1 or 2 chances in matches, which they must take. But overall, the starting 11 is still strong enough to go out there and make sure that they're more than capable of getting the 3 points today.
Yeah, and I guess the trend in recent games has been to become a bit more compact, a bit harder to play against, a bit harder to beat. Would you think that would therefore continue today, given the absences at the top of the pitch?
Well, the good news today is you're away from home. You'd be hoping that the home side, the obligation is on them to come and attack Liverpool, and then Liverpool hit them on the counter-attack. So there'll be a bit more room to play in behind. So you're looking for runners. We've got that, certainly. Wirtz can do that. Szoboszlai's very, very good at it. Ryan Gravenberch, I think he is one of the midfielders who can actually have that ability to do so, particularly with Curtis sitting a little bit deeper and allowing Ryan to get higher up the pitch. So I think there's still good options there, but it's about the mindset. You have to go out there and be prepared for a very tough game. We know Fulham are in good form at the moment.
Yeah.
The last few games have picked up with 10 points out of a possible 12, so they'll be confident enough going into this game. But the onus is on Liverpool now. If you want him, get back up there amongst the top 3, putting them under pressure, it's games like today that you have to win.
Yeah, we pondered before we got that team news about whether Florian Wirtz would get a rest today, because there was a little chat about his tight hamstring, etc. It's that kind of day where you just fear that a player with that kind of issue might need a rest, but he doesn't get one. Maybe you can't, in this circumstance, allow for that.
The other thing with that as well, Matt, maybe he doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Maybe we were just putting too much onto it, that he needed to not be in the starting 11, that he needed the rest. And in fact, he is fit and healthy and is willing to give it a go today. Look, the medical staff today are absolutely brilliant. They'll know exactly the problems that Liverpool have got and where the players are injury-wise, as far as the ones that need resting and the ones that can actually go out and perform. It might be that he's good enough for a good hour and see how he is then. But it'll be up to him to go out there and play to the level that he can. I thought in the last game against Leeds he was just a little bit off, and it might have been an issue with the injury that he had.
Maybe.
But prior to that, he's been absolutely brilliant. Back to the form that we all looked at when he played over in Germany last season, where he was instrumental in everything that went well for the sides that he was playing for. And hopefully he can get back to that form today.
Yeah, we'll see, as you say, where Cody Gakpo actually starts. But given that he loves to come in the pitch anyway, maybe starting more centrally will suit him and the team.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a false 9. It might be Dominic who goes plays up there. Liverpool might, just whoever's in that area, you're the number 9 for that period of time, and you just make sure that you change positions around. That versatility sometimes is good, because centre-halves are now looking, thinking, who should I be picking up? And they don't quite know where they should be, or the players that they should be getting tight to. So it's been interesting, the dynamic that Liverpool play. But I just think with the quality that's there's no doubt that they can create opportunities to do that.
And if needed off the bench, there are, as you talked about, runners. There's Chiesa, there's Frimpong, and there's young Rio Ungamoa. So there's again ways to change the game.
There are players that can come on and change, and players have been very patient, waiting for their opportunity, and we've seen that in recent matches. I just hope that when they do get the chance to take it, go out there, seize the moment, be the player that you are, to go out there and show the Liverpool public what you're about and what you can do it on the football field and impress the manager. You know, go out there and show what you've been doing in training on a daily basis. And the reason why you're part of this football club is that you've got ability, and when you get your chance, you've got to shine.
Yeah, and maybe, as again with the previous game in mind, with some supporters getting frustrated about the lack of tempo, the lack of urgency, particularly at the start of the game. Maybe today is particularly a game where you look for a bit of control early on with the team that you've got.
Yeah, look, control will be one case. Another clean sheet. I think that's like you start at 0-0. If you can end it in 0, okay, it might not be exactly what you want, but you're going in the right direction when it comes to the defensive side of things. You can't think about the next game on Thursday against Arsenal. That will take care of itself.
Yeah.
You have to be fully focused on the game in hand, which is against Fulham. And if you can do that and you pick up 3 points today, that confidence, that belief in each other, you take that on to the next game. It's the old adage, and it's a true one. It's one game at a time.
Yeah. So no Ekitike amongst Liverpool's starters or subs. But as Ray says, opportunity knocks for one or two others.
It does indeed. Thanks, lads. But let's start with that news on Hugo Ekitike, because it obviously comes out of the blue, Jason, in terms of he completed the full game against Leeds on New Year's Day. Top scorer this season, 11 in all comps, 8 in the Premier League. It's a blow. There's no way to dress it up.
Yeah, and he has been a shining light. You know, he's kind of, obviously Isak's injured, but he's, you know, he was pushing to start in that role, wasn't he? And he was asking questions of Isak, and he's become firmly a fan's favourite. I think his determination and desire goes a long way. But then he hit a purple patch, didn't he? Started scoring, and he was a threat. So to lose him today, yeah, is a big loss for Liverpool. But obviously it's an opportunity, as the lad said, for maybe, you know, we'll have to wait and see where the gap post starts down the middle or whether it's a false nine inverts. But it's something you have to deal with at this time of year. You're going to pick up injuries. You've got to dig deep into your squad. That's why you put a big squad together. I think the frustrating thing for me is there's no consistency in team selection. I know injuries play a part, but I was just saying to Gary there, you know, you look at the performance at Leeds, there was 3 right backs again. You know, there's just lots of chopping and changing. And, you know, McAllister made a point in his interview where he said there's been a lot of changes. Maybe that needs to stop. You know, it just doesn't seem that the manager is fixed on his starting 11, his first 11 that he thinks is the strongest.
Yeah, I think what you miss about Ekitike, you think like you're going off the back of a 0-0 draw at home, you want like your top goal scorer to be like playing in the starting 11. So that's a bit of a blow. With regards to the right back position, it's always been, since the start of the season really, it's been a bit of a problem kind of position. Through one thing or another, whether it be injury or whether it be lack of form, or maybe like manager like trying to find his best 11, and you know, Dominic Szoboszlai's played there, which really detracted from his performance really in the middle of the park. Frimpong's tried there. Connor Bradley is the one that at this moment in time seems to be the one to hold down that position at this stage of the season. So it's a thing that he's kind of like he's thrown all these kind of like balls up, and like that at this moment in time they're not all falling in the right position. So it'll be interesting to see how we build from this and go on like for the rest of the season. But it's something to look at.
Yeah, it does give an opportunity to Cody Gakpo, whether he starts in the middle or on the left. JC, he's not having the most consistent of seasons himself, really. He will feel that his return at the moment, it's 4 goals in the Premier League, 5 overall. He would have been looking at this season and feeling like he wanted to progress and kick on a bit. Yeah,
certainly with Diaz going. You know, it seemed to be them seasons gone by that were vying for that position, pushing each other. And I thought, it's an opportunity with Luis Diaz leaving for Bayern Munich, but it's not quite worked out. We spent a lot of money in that forward area. Maybe the manager had different ideas, but it's not really worked out. I always feel Cody's the kind of player that needs a run in the team if you're going to get the best from him, and it's been stop-start, whether it's been injury or whether it's been selection. He's not nailed down that position. He can be quite predictable. Listen, he's a right-footed player playing on the left, so he does like to come in. He is a threat, but he very rarely goes on the outside, so he's kind of a bit of a one-trick pony. But I like the fact that he doesn't shirk his responsibility when we haven't got the ball. He does put a lot of hard yards in. He's a presence from set pieces. He's a big, tall lad, and he's fit. But he gets his opportunity today, and he's got to take it.
I think where he's struggled is like the combination between him and the fullback. I think Andy Robertson had a nice kind of understanding with Cody Gakpo. I don't recall too many times this season where the two of them have actually started the game together. and like he has to build that kind of relationship again with Kerkis, and that's the problem that you've got obviously when you're bringing new players in. It's not just about the individual as a player, it's about like the combinations that they form on, like certainly on that left hand side of the pitch, and it's not just quite gelled for them at this moment in time.
Let's speak about a relationship that does seem to be building, that between Florian Wirtz and Curtis Jones. We've got some examples of where we've seen them in previous games. Maybe didn't see too much of it against Leeds, but I think that the whole team had a bit of an off day, that Jace. But these two seem to be building quite a good understanding between them.
They're similar, aren't they, in the way that they play? They both want to get on the ball, they both see a pass, they're both neat and tidy, clever players, quick feet, and you see they're always around each other and they're always offering support to each other. But I just think having them both on the pitch sometimes detracts away from a physicality point of view from Liverpool. One thing I'm kind of noticing in Liverpool's performance is there's no one in there who puts the foot in. There's not a like a Belieber or a Casado or, you know, a Fernandes. Like we call them ratters in the game. The ones who win the ball back, ones who do the hard work, ones who are nasty and put the tackle in. Listen, we kind of give up that when we've got so many players, because McAllister's not really like that. Gravenberch is not like that. He's very athletic, but he's not that kind of player, and neither is Wirtz or Jones. So it takes away a bit of physicality. Listen, if you're dominating the ball and you're playing well and things are going for you, to have the both of them in the team, listen, can be a bit of a blessing, because you can tear teams apart. But when it's not going quite well and you're up against it, you're trying to find something, sometimes it can go against you.
Yes, interesting point that, because they probably are quite similar players, and maybe that's why they do gel quite well, Gary. But do you see where Jason's coming from there, that sometimes you need a little bit more of a physical presence?
No, I get that. I mean, it's getting that balance right. I mean, I think when you look at like the way football's kind of developed, it's kind of like it evolves all over the place. When you think about the start of the Premier League, when like Arsene Wenger was manager at Arsenal, the way that they wanted to play was like you buy giants. So like Arsenal's team in 2004, like the Invincibles, were all like plus over 6 feet, but all could like good athletic like ability, but could play as well. And then you get like the Barcelona tiki-taki, like, which you probably think that like Curtis Jones and Florian Wirtz fit in more into that. But at this moment in time, I think you need a little bit more dynamism in the middle of the park. You need a little bit more, less of the tiki-taki stuff, and like things like that can affect the game a little bit more in areas of the pitch where like can be more effective. And when I'm talking about that, that's in the opposition's 18-yard box. Hence the reason probably why you see like the emergence again, or a re-emergence of like the long throw in, causing chaos, corners, free kicks, all like these kind of set plays that cause like chaos in like the opposition's 18-yard box. And then you're like looking around for second balls and scraps. And Liverpool have been like punished with that like on numerous occasions this season. But when you throw in like Florian Wirtz and Curtis Jones, they're not that type of player. They're like five-a-side kind of players that like keep possession, like look very neat and like controlled and compact and are good on the ball. But being good on the ball is one thing, but being good on the ball and affecting the game is another thing. And I think these two have to affect the game a lot more than maybe what we've seen.
I just feel like we're caught at the minute in. Gary's just kind of summed it up really well there. You've got this Arsenal team that he used as his example, and a Barcelona team. We're kind of caught in the middle. It's kind of, we're not one and we're not the other, and it's a bit of a balance that's not quite working. I think if you look at the great Jurgen Klopp team that he put together, you had a very industrious midfield. Listen, Wijnaldum, Milner, Henderson, they were all athletes who could run around, put the foot in, win the ball back. They weren't easy on the eye, they weren't little ticky-tacky, they were just the engine room. And then ahead of them, you had the quality, that's not taken away from Henderson, Milner and Wijnaldum, but you had the quality then to go on and win the game, the Salah, the Mane, the Firmino, who were your little players who in that final third could create something, score a goal out of nothing, bit of magic, one touch, two touch, magnificent, and the balance was perfectly right. And then we've gone away from that. Our midfield is, I don't quite know what it is. It's a bit of everything. You
feel like it's trying to find an identity.
Yeah, there's no real identity to this team. There's no real identity to it. I feel it's crying out for a Matt Marner, Souness, a case of, that kind of like real industrious player who can win the ball back and start attacks and do the hard work, nasty, like gets the team up for it. I felt we lacked one of them players at the weekend against Leeds, and I feel overall we lacked that kind of personality in the team, to be honest.
Probably no surprise that Milos Kerkez comes back in today for Andy Robertson. There's been quite a lot of rotation in that left-back role, Gary, hasn't there? But in terms of positives, in that Wolves game, he did link up quite well with Curtis Jones and Florian Wirtz, and you would expect to see more of that today.
Well, I think you're going to see that throughout the course of the season, like the combination of like the two, Kerkez coming in, Andrew Robertson coming in. Andrew Robertson certainly hasn't had the minutes on the pitch as a starting like 11 that I would have expected him to have this season. I thought it would have been the other way around, that Andy Robertson was like the nailed on like starting position and Kerkez would come in maybe once or twice, but it's been the other way around. And to be fair to him, he's kind of just trying to like find his feet. I think in the last couple of games, you mentioned the Wolves game, I think, you know, like that you saw like green shoots. I think he's beginning to establish himself in the team. I think he's grown in confidence, and especially when you're out on that left-hand side or any like isolated in a wide area, you have to have confidence. You have to have a belief in your own ability, especially when you're in possession of the football. I think many times that I've seen, he plays it a little bit too easy at times. I think he plays it a little bit too safe.